It's not as if you're letting go of your dreams or what you imagine for yourself. It's just the surrendering of it so that the ride is fun.
Mm-hmm.
You have forgotten how to have fun.
Oh, please, I know. And it's... And lighten up. I take everything so seriously.
Well, because there is this fear set point that tells you if you don't do this, you won't have that. If you don't do this, you will not eat. If you don't do this, you will not have a roof over your head. It is a complete manipulation and completely untrue.
And I'm learning that right now. I feel like I'm learning that. I get the moments of fear, but I'm just like, just go with the flow. Whatever comes in.
There are two important emotions that Rebecca has already recognized are what she calls slingshot emotions, and one of them is fear and the other is anger. It is an emotion that can slingshot you either upward very quickly or downward even more quickly. And so when you hit those moments of fear, understand that that energy that is being assembled as a result of that fear, you can also use it to propel you forward and up the vibrational scale.
I always need the practical, like how?
Well, imagine that ball of energy. We love this. We are very excited to share this with you.
Okay.
It is like that fear energy. You take it in a ball and pull it out of your heart and hold it directly in front of your body. And it is not that different from Qigong,
Right.
in that it is one method that you would just thrust that energy away from you, and that would be the most basic form of it. The other form is some people throw it to the sun, such as Rebecca has in the past, and doing that is not harmful. Throwing it out is the most harmful potentially, because someone might actually run into it,
Right.
or just pick it up in their auric field because they don't understand what it is, and then they would carry your fear along with them. The method that we are recommending is that you imagine your timeline that is in front of you. You take that ball of fear, put your hands around it so you're holding it viscerally, and then transmute it. Even if you don't know how to transmute it, just say, I am turning this into the most beautiful, highest integratable form for my future, and throw it down the timeline. And it will also accelerate your experience, because the speed at which you are hurling it forward will help actually physically hurl your body forward towards the answers that you are actually desiring. And you've done it through the ball of fear that you have decided to disassemble within you.
Wow, that's great. I love that. We said down the timeline. Do you, because you don't want anyone to absorb that. How do you?
This is a demonstration of what is to come when we talk about dimension and phasing out of that dimension. This is actually, as you envision down your timeline, you are no longer in 3D reality. So anyone that would physically be in the space in which you are working and happen to be walking by wouldn't be affected by it, because you have placed yourself in a different dimension just by envisioning your timeline.
Oh. That's cool.
Very cool.
I like that. And envisioning a timeline, like what is that? Is it just, say, just an energy field, or?
Rebecca views it as a tunnel, kind of like the size that you would see in the New York subway.
Understood.
But not everyone would have that visualization. We are just using her vessel.
I know, you put the New York subway in there, I'm like, oh, dirt, and oh.
No, it is light and it's beauty, and it is exactly what you create. So we do not want to give you too much information to color your picture that you're supposed to be coloring in yourself.
Right. But for some reason, I just need to have the concrete example explained so I can kind of get somewhat of a visual.
Yes.
And what about, I mean, people used to say, like, give it up give it up to God. What about the sun?
Rebecca innately used to use the sun as the place that she threw everything to, even in an interaction where her husband and her would be in an argument and she would give it up to the sun. It is a recording device and we will come back to it, but before we get there, we want to express something that Rebecca has been doing recently that is far more effective when she is getting rid of energy that she feels like is being put on her. And in this example, it is with her husband because he is the person, they are the people that are working these things out with. And so he is just the example that fits this position.
I understand. Mm-hmm.
And so he was really upset the other day with Rebecca not knowing why. And he, in her opinion, violently went through the house. He didn't say or do anything, but the energy buildup within him was such that whatever he spoke was harshly received. It wasn't even the words, it was the amount of energy that was coming out of him into her. And when she had a moment by herself, she took the energy, and normally she would send it to the sun, but instead she politely set it within his auric field and said that she recognized that she didn't really think that he wanted it, otherwise he wouldn't have given it to her, but that it was his responsibility to deal with. And then she took ownership of her auric field, said nothing to him to resolve whatever was between them, but within 4 hours everything was normalized and calm.
Mm-hmm.
And if she would have given it to the sun, it would have lasted for several more days.
Oh, okay. So it was really giving it back to him to transmute and deal with him on himself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is a polite way of returning what they should not have sent to you,
mm-hmm.
but do not have the training or the understanding yet to know what to do with.
Mm-hmm. Was, if I may ask, was the anger and the frustration, it was his issue?
Yes, it had absolutely nothing to do with her
mm-hmm.
or anything she had done.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good conversation because it happens a lot in couples, and it can get very confusing. Whose issue is what issue? And so
the truth is that no one's issue is anyone's issue. I know that sounds like something Yoda would say, but we are meaning that as kind of a joke. But the truth is that anything that is violent, what Rebecca would describe as violent energy, because she no longer has to wait for someone to actually speak something or do something violent. She now can just feel the energy of it, and in her mind that actually is still violence, even if it hasn't been expended anywhere. In those cases, that energy was never theirs to begin with, and she was giving that energy back to Philip and saying that it was his to deal with because he was putting it on her. But the truth is, the origination of that energy did not come from him. It came from someone else who had thrown it at him. And as a human beings, we actually have no ownership of any of that energy, and we find it fascinating as we watch humans pass it all around, and everyone thinks that it's theirs and they're taking ownership of it, and no one should own any of it because it is a manipulation of the field.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense from a higher perspective. Why the planet Earth is just so corrupt and so messed up.
It is.
Yeah. That's very interesting. So someone else gave it to him. Mm-hmm. Did he know? No.
It was in a transaction for a work that cost him a lot of money that was not even his fault in real life, but that energy transference was a result of how that particular company set themselves up and was expending their negative energy off onto their clients unknowingly. So it's not just in an individual form, it can also be in group form, where someone has co-created a business and that in itself is its own entity and can expend its own emotional energy out, which is truly fascinating, because then an entity is created that is not even physical, and that non-physical is actually transferring emotions around in a very distorted way, which we are studying at length.
Can you also transmute things through the heart, or is that too heavy for the heart?
It is possible to do it, but it ends up taking a toll on the practitioner. And it ends up creating a lot of emotional trauma for that person, and many times they don't even recognize what's happened.
Earth take it? Well, of course she can.
Of course she can is correct, and she is happy to take all of those things, but she is at a point where she's a little fed up and wants you all to just figure it out on your own. She is putting her foot down, and every cell of her being is saying no.
And why is that? Why is she saying no?
Is
she tired of being trampled on?
It is that, as well as just where she is in her cycle evolution, and so the two combined for kind of a perfect storm. She has been telling humanity for a while that disruption will happen if it continues.
My heart breaks for her.
She says she's fine. It's never a problem for her. It's that eventually humanity will no longer inhabit Earth because she will kick them off. So never feel sorry for her, because she will always find her equilibrium for billions and billions and billions of years still.
She and you, the way that you say it is, she sounds like just,
She is that. She is an entity. She is a formation, just like you would have in a corporation, where a corporation doesn't exist. It's an entity unto itself and doesn't even have a physical aspect necessarily, whereas at least Earth has a physical aspect. But yeah, she has her own personality, and right now she is in a spicy phase.
And so is that what, digging further into that, cataclysms, earthquakes, tsunamis, things as such as
it is not really clear for us even to be able to say what will happen, because there are infinite timelines, and where you two fall on the timeline on which timeline you fall, rather, you do not know yet. And so to answer that question is really hard. But there are timelines where everything is destroyed and is much like Atlantis or Lemuria. But that is only a small percentage.
Now, I was just wondering if that was Gaia's, expression, cataclysms of the deep, wanting to explode out these stored emotions or energies that are. You said she could take care of herself, but at the same time, there's so much negative energy going around that it has to be expulsed.
Later in our session, we were having a conversation about something that was coming up in her life that caused Donna to feel fear. And so we used, or our higher selves in this example, used that opportunity to use the method of the cosmic bowling in that moment to teach Donna how to actively do it on her own, with Rebecca, myself, and our higher selves guiding her in the moment. And here it is.
That came from, I'm in a state of that fear already. Shut up, Donna. Okay, thank you for all the...
And it was never meant to activate fear, but it is a good place to practice before we leave. You pulling that fear out into a ball, we will help you.
Okay.
And Rebecca is also a master at this energy work, and so she's just helping you form it into a ball. And even that ball in front of you doesn't feel like you have any ownership of it, which is good. And then kind of imagine it. I think it would be fun for you to imagine it like you were bowling. And this is cosmic bowling. So you don't get gutters in cosmic bowling. So you just take that bowling ball of the fear and you roll it right down and you knock out as many pins as you like. And that actually is pre-paving your timeline.
That feels good. That felt good.
Doesn't it?
It does. Okay.
So there is your first practice round.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, it's easy.
Really easy.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca's higher self. Thank my higher self. To have everything and everyone recede back to where they belong with our truly grateful thanks.